Hello, everyone. This is Sweaty Katie. I just worked out and I am jumping on for a live stream to do my final video of the day because I don't have time to edit and I want to make sure to get downstairs with my family. But this story has been like everywhere today and I have been trying to figure out like how I'm even going to present this because I feel like it's such a divisive story. And I'm kind of like I feel like I'm a deer in headlights here, because Nick Cannon, who is the host of MTV's Wild and Out, and he also is the host of The Masked Singer, and he was the ex-husband of Mariah Carey, father of her children. He has been on MTV Viacom for I don't even know how long, since like 1998, 1997, 1999. I feel like Nick Cannon has been around forever. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with notifications today. Clearly, people are not getting notified that this is happening. Let me see if I can send this to my members. Okay. So, Nick has this podcast, right? And he has this guy on who used to be with, I think, NWA. Is that right? He was on with Professor Griff. Oh, Public Enemy, who was on. He left Public Enemy after he had made some really not nice comments. And he and Nick had this conversation that sort of derailed into, I don't even know if it was like philosophical or if he was trying to. Honestly, I was watching the podcast and I was watching what they were saying and I was having a hard time following it. There was like a lot of rambling and some, obviously the things that were said here, I feel like are the things that if you're going to say them, you probably don't say them on a podcast, but, perpetuating stereotypes that we probably shouldn't be perpetuating. And whether or not he meant it to come off this way, it obviously was kind of offensive to people. And so yesterday, this clip of him starts circulating all over Twitter. And if I were to tell you what they actually say in the clip, I feel like no one would see this video. But he basically is talking about how the evolution of men and women, of race, and how people who are white are fearful of people that have like dark skin. And because of that, people that are like that, there was tons of public backlash. So he goes on and on and on about how like we had to turn into like white people, Caucasians, Europeans had to kind of turn into like animals in his estimation, and savages, because we were afraid of people that have darker skin colors. And then he also talked about some stuff related to like some conspiracies in Hollywood, that everything is owned by the Jewish people. And he also made some comments about how like black people were the true Hebrews, and that obviously the conspiracies related to, Hollywood being owned by the Jewish people, and then that comment like black people were the true Hebrews, it upset a lot of people. And also it upset, people that he was referring to, white people as essentially like animals and savages. So the clips start circulating and they're like bumping around and they're getting circulated by these really like large, like I would say more right-wing media outlets. And it starts like trending that they're going to like cancel him for these comments that he made. And by no means is what he said like okay. But it was just like what he said was so, I feel like I was like, okay, so anyways, what he said wasn't good. I mean, I can link the podcast But it was bad. What he was saying was not good. But it surprised me that he would be fired this fast, only because MTV has held on to people who have done so much worse, to the point of I was stunned, because it was like, this is the same network that has people that are actively being arrested for violence, and they still have them on their payroll, and they're also employing people from Teen Mom that are doing really, really bad things. And there are still people that are on the Teen Mom cast that have equally said things that are not kind towards Black people. You know what I mean? So it felt like I was like, well, they didn't fire people from, say, Teen Mom that have made tweets that are really, really bad. But now it's like this swift reaction, and he was fired for his comments. So it was that part of it that kind of confused me and surprised me, because I was like, whoa, MTV, like, you've been sitting on Amber Portwood for over a year. You have been sitting on, allowing her to have a job, and she's a felon. And you've been sitting on all of these other people that, like, Ryan Edwards and Macy McKinney's husband's tweets, and tweets by Gary Shirley. And it's bizarre to me that you're going to fire Nick this quickly, right? And I don't condone what he said at all. Like, I'm not at all condoning that. It's just, there's such a lack of consistency here. Why are they firing Nick and not firing them? It makes no sense to me. If you're going to fire Nick, you have to fire Amber. You have to fire Taylor McKinney. You have to fire all these other people that have said things that are equally as bad, and it's bizarre to me, because I'm like, it was very swift. And so my initial response was like, so it's, confusion, like, why are you firing him, but you're not firing these other people? And the swiftness, they are so inconsistent in how they apply this. Okay, so Nick does apologize. So here is what Nick says on Twitter. He says, anyone who knows me knows that I have no hate in my heart or intentions. I do not condone hate or speech, nor the spread of hateful rhetoric. Actually, I'll show you. So here's what he said. He says, anyone who knows me knows that I have no hate in my heart or malice intentions. I do not condone hate speech nor the spread of hateful rhetoric. We are living in a time when it's more important than ever to promote unity and understanding. And then he said, until then, I hold myself accountable for this moment and take full responsibility, because my intentions are only to show that as a beautiful human species, we have way more commonalities than differences. So let's embrace those as well as each other. We all are family. And then he did a Facebook, which was super long. And he says, I'm deeply saddened in a moment so close to reconciliation that the powers that be misused an important moment for us to all grow closer together and learn more about one another. Instead, the moment was stolen and hijacked to make an example of an outspoken Black man. I will not be bullied or silenced or continuously oppressed by an organization, group, or corporation. I am disappointed that Viacom does not understand and respect the power of the Black community. So he is claiming that the response by Viacom was one of racial. Like, he says that they've twisted it, and that, and his apology doesn't really match what he said. So, and the way that he was saying on the podcast, it was very divisive. You know what I mean? So I don't know if he's backtracking here, but another thing he said is, in a pleasant turn of events, and then he went on to all of these different accolades that he had with Wild and Out, and like all the success that he had. And he says that, MTV was going to stop advertising anything related to George Floyd. He talked about how, the company as a whole was not as progressive as he had hoped. he was sort of pointing out all of the different, what he felt were racial inequities with the company. And he says, in a pleasant turn of events, that was after all the, then, in a pleasant turn of events, and the best blessings in all of the hurtful attack is the outpouring of love and support from the Jewish community. It has been amazing, and I have spoken with many rabbis, clergy, and professors and co-workers who offer their sincere help. I must apologize to my Jewish brothers and sisters for putting them in such a painful position, which was never my intention. But I know this whole situation has hurt so many people, and together we will make it right. I've dedicated my daily efforts to continuing conversations to bring the Jewish community and the African American community closer together, embracing our differences and sharing our commonalities. Through the guidance of our multicultural team, which embodies several people from the Jewish community, specifically Michael Goldman, my business partner for 3 decades, who has discovered me in the Hollywood Improv when I was doing stand-up as a kid. Through thick and thin, he's been by my side, yelling at me when I talk too much and laughing with me as we're always overcoming adversity together. I love you, my brother, and thank you for helping me become the man that I am today. And as we embark on the next incredible journey together and bring our 2 persecuted communities together like we're always planned, he and so many gracious people from the Jewish community are showing me with love and many great and helping to guide me to the promised land. Literally, I'm excited to announce that I've never been invited to Israel, which is a lifelong dream where I will receive teachings, lessons, and truth about the Jewish history. And as someone who is in the pursuit of my PhD in theology and divinity, and just received a degree in criminal justice from the great Howard University, this will be enriching and enlightening and an overall exciting trip. As for Viacom, who is now on the wrong side of history, I will continue to pray for you. I don't blame you all individually. I blame the oppressive and racial infrastructure, systemic racism of the world that is built on everything. So he was fired, and it's kind of surprising because the response here was, I feel like nobody's getting notifications today. When they put this out, the response from, he said that he reached out to Viacom to try to apologize to them, and they say that that did not happen. And they also said that they will never, they don't condone what he said. And they basically said it has their statement was, Viacom condemns bigotry of any kind, and we categorically denounce all forms of We are spoken with Nick Cannon about an episode of his podcast, Cannon's Class, on YouTube, which promoted hateful speech and spread conspiracy theories. While we support ongoing education and dialogue in the fight against this, we are deeply troubled that Nick has failed to acknowledge or apologize for perpetuating this stereotype, and we are terminating our relationship with him. We are committed to doing better in our response to incidents of this, different things like anti-Semitism, racism, and bigotry, and we will have further announcements on our effort to combat this of all kind. So I don't understand here, though, is why is, I don't know how people feel about his apology. And again, I'm not here, I'm not condoning what he said. I would never say those kind of things, and I'm not here to that. My point here is I don't understand the, how Viacom makes their decisions. How do you decide that you are going to do this? Nobody's getting notifications, Angie, clearly. How does Viacom make a decision to get rid of him for those statements, which were terrible, by the way, but they don't get rid of other people? And the people that they're not getting rid of are white. MTV is involved because CBS and Viacom are owned by CBS, Viacom own MTV, and Nick is on Wild and Out, and Wild and Out is on MTV. Does everyone circle back in here? So Viacom is the mother company of MTV. He has been on Wild and Out on MTV for decades now, and he has been a mainstay there. Now, he was not fired from The Masked Singer. it's just wild to me that, so Fox, which hosts The Masked Singer, has not made any statement. And it's, if they're going to apply this to Nick, I would expect then they're going to apply it to all the cast members, right? From all of their shows that have had equally egregious statements on their social medias, right? That's what we should expect. So if you're going to get rid of Nick, we got to get rid of everyone else, MTV. And I'm sure that, Wild and Out is it's a popular show on there, so they're going to lose a lot of money getting rid of that. And Nick wants ownership of that because he says that he built that into a multi-billion-dollar company, into a multi-billion-dollar brand. And so he wants ownership of that. And so they all need, Incredible anyway says they all need to be fired or this is hugely unbalanced. Correct. Like, you cannot be happy with what Nick did and say, yes, he deserves to be fired. But you also should be like, well, then why aren't we firing the other people that are doing the same things? So just clean house, MTV. Like, if you're going to get rid of Nick, then get rid of all the other white cast members that are doing things that are equally as bad, right? It can't be unfairly applied. Otherwise, the termination of Nick is going to appear to be racially motivated because the quickness and the swiftness of this is surprising to me because there hasn't been the same swiftness when it comes to other cast members who are white. They do. Jesse Bear says that Viacom needs to have consistent morals and clean house. So I'm at a place right now where don't condone or support what he said. 2, I don't agree with how Viacom handled this. I think the push on social media was at a place where it was he became the sacrificial lamb. And it's just this whole cancel culture. Nobody has to agree with what he says. What he said did perpetuate a lot of stereotypes, but why aren't cast members that are white being held to the same standard? Jesse says white cast members have done worse, in my honest, chasing someone with a cucumber. Yeah, you have felons, MTV. You have literally felons on your channels. You have convicted felons that are on probation on your shows. You have people like Ronnie on Jersey Shore that can't stay out of getting arrested, and you've got Amber, and you've got all these cast members that have been in such humongous legal problems, and Nick hasn't. He doesn't have a criminal history that I know of. It's wild to me. I can't. It's the more and more and more MTV does this kind of stuff, the less and less and less I am how do you even support a network and a company that makes these kinds of decisions? How do you support a company that is so imbalanced and unbalanced in how they apply their rules? How is it weighing out now? Are as many people calling out Viacom as they did due to the podcast? So on Twitter, I would say a lot of people are actually being really supportive. It's kind of split. You've got people that are really hateful towards him and say, yeah, good riddance. He was a really bad person. And then you've got people that are let him own Wild and Out. Why are you applying this so quickly? It's I don't even know. Kelsey says, it's bizarre how people in power at Viacom do not realize that they select Black people of color subconsciously or not and hold them to a completely different standard than white people. Yeah, and I think that's kind of what I'm seeing here. Katie Lawton says, initial anger aside, it really upsets me the amount of conversations we are having to have about these people within the organization. Why is MTV allowing these people to still have a platform? Exactly, MTV. I would expect, where are you going to make your, why are you still allowing a platform for Amber Portwood? Why are you still allowing a platform for Ronnie from Jersey Shore? Why are you still allowing a platform for some of these problematic people from The Challenge or some of these other cast members on teen mom. You know, it's just confusing. I don't understand it, and I don't understand why when it comes down to Nick, the action is so swift and like abrupt and like it unless there was stuff happening behind the scenes where they were already sparring and this was like the final straw, I can't imagine how this is the response. So again, not condemning, not condoning what he said or did. I just don't understand why this company makes the decisions that they do. And I feel like we need to have more fair playing field at MTV. And if they don't respond by acting on the white counterparts that are doing equally as bad thing, I feel like, as Robin says, that it's a microaggression to punish Nick and not the white stars. Exactly. It's a microaggression. So, yeah, he might have a past with the network, but he's been hugely successful and made that network a lot of money. All right, you guys, so that's what I have for now. For some reason, these videos are not getting notifications. So if you are, do me a favor, on your way out, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you guys later. Bye.